Most modern heavy-duty machines use joysticks instead of the levers and switches you'd see before. Joysticks can be mapped to different functions, depending on the equipment type. Because of this, joysticks help make equipment safer, faster, and more precise. We're at Bailey Electronics, a leading electro-hydraulic component manufacturer. This is an entry-level joystick. This is a premium joystick. In this video, we'll show you every step of the way and the engineering that goes into making both entry-level and premium joysticks. They are made in the same facility, but these premium joysticks can be 10 times more expensive, and here's why. This is Tekamo Blueprint. This video is proudly sponsored by Bailey and Fortis HD. Now, let's show you how they make the entry-level joystick. Behind me are some of the assembly lines where they're wielding these units here. This is the Elevate joystick. It's super practical design. It's got the trigger on front, it's got the toggle switch on top, and we're going front and back only. This is Zed. She assembles the Elevate joysticks, Bailey's entry-level product line. It takes her 3 minutes from start to finish to assemble one of these. There are 4 stations in the assembly line. The first station is where labels and serial numbers are generated and placed at the bottom of the joystick. Next, technicians carefully install components such as the springs and wiring harness. After the components are in place, the case is closed and secured with screws. This is the output from the first station. This will be brought to station 2 where it will be scanned. Triggers, handles, and rocker boots are installed in this station. Once it's done, testing and calibration will be done at station 3. Lastly, at station 4 it will be scanned once again before it goes inside the box for shipping. Because of its straightforward design, production costs are kept low, which helps keep the price of this entry-level joystick affordable. Curious how many joysticks Zed can assemble in one day?
In one day, I can assemble around 100 pieces.
You saw the process of how the entry-level joysticks are made. Now we're going to show you the process of how they make their premium joysticks. With the premium joysticks, you see all sorts of different options available. Different buttons, triggers, and even attachments at the side. These are all customizable. There are various stations of each assembly. At each step of the process, another component is added until it's completed. The first step of the process is picking the parts. But before anything moves forward, everything is carefully inspected for quality. Defective pieces are removed, and only the best components move on to the next stage. They check for tolerances, material integrity, and overall quality. In a separate assembly line behind me, you'll see they make the CCAs, the circuit cap assemblies. These are used later down in the production line.
My name is Phil. I've been here 3 years and I'm an assembler.
Phil and his fellow co-workers assemble joystick bottom caps by preparing and installing wire harnesses, organizing and trimming wires according to build specifications, soldering them onto circuit boards, and inspecting the work for quality. They then seal the components with epoxy to protect against moisture and vibration before sending them off for final assembly. This is how this goes together. This is the bottom cap here. The joysticks mount right on top. This is the quiet room where they do a lot of the small pieces and small components. There's the laser cutter, there's a little CNC machine, there's a sonic welder. It's called the quiet room, not because it's quiet, obviously, but because you need ear protection because it gets loud in here.
My name is Nanette Kui. I've been in the company for 8 years, and I am in production assembler 3.
Nanette specializes in creating custom faceplates and overlays, handling the entire process from start to finish. Her responsibilities include cutting and milling faceplates using CNC machines and laser cutters, engraving calibrated parts, and programming and calibrating components such as rockers and proportional slides. She also assembles parts and brackets using an ultrasonic welder and prepares them for buttons with a button press machine. And additionally, she tests and performs quality checks using jigs to calibrate parts before engraving, then sends them to inventory. In this section, they assemble some switches and they pot them. You'll see that process later. They also make the wiring harnesses and they cut them to length specific for the handles. Now that all the components for the premium joysticks are made, they all come here to assembly where they become joysticks. As the premium unit has so many more components, you saw along the way all the quality checks they constantly do. That's why this one takes about half hour to build, where the other one takes about 3 minutes. So from here it goes for one more quality check, then it'll go to packaging and then shipping. Regardless if it's an entry level or premium joystick, all the joysticks get extensively tested. Now let's head over to where they do all the preliminary testing to de-risk the product early, before they go through the formal third-party lab testing. You've just seen the joysticks assembled. They now come here to the testing lab. In this room here, they go through the electrical and mechanical testing. To get more in depth on how they test the joysticks, we're going to talk to Miguel and to Nick.
My name is Miguel Manguera. I've worked at Bailey Electronics for around a year and a half. My role here is the electrical engineer, which means I get to develop all of our electronics from scratch. That means I take them from the requirement phase all the way to the product development phase and build and test them until it becomes a full product.
Every product goes through rigorous testing to make sure it can handle real-world conditions, from static and electrical interference to emissions you'll encounter in the field.
So this is our ESD bench, short for electrostatic discharge. What this means is that we replicate what the human body can build and discharge. So like when you touch a point in our product, that's the equivalent of if you rub your feet on the carpet, build up some electrostatic, and you're discharging it on that. So what we have here is an ESD simulator. What that allows you to do is to replicate that feeling of building up your charge from the rug and discharging it directly onto our products. So as you can see, I can create controlled electrostatic discharges. So what this allows us to do is to test our products very rigorously for electrostatic discharges so that we don't experience any failures out in the field. We can scan our product to see if it discharges anywhere. So this tester can go all the way to 30,000 kilovolts. When our body generates electrostatic discharge, it's a very high voltage, but a very short period of time. So we can control and simulate how us touching one of our products and see if our product would break or fail under that specific discharge. What we have here is our setup for something called electromagnetic compatibility, short for EMC. What we're looking to do is we're testing to see if any unwanted frequencies coming from your phone, a radio, or any kind of receiver or transceiver will affect our product. So what we have here is called a temp cell. It's short for transverse electromagnetic cell. What allows us to do is if we put our device into the cell here and subject it to some power from our devices here, we can subject specific radio frequencies to our device at specific power levels and see how our device performs. Essentially, this lets us see if our device will fail or pass out in the field. This helps me understand where our device's weak points are. So as you can see, I'm putting in, this is 10 megahertz. That means my device is quite susceptible to 10 megahertz, and it affects my device's performance and helps me understand how we can make it more robust to an electromagnetic wave. In our own designs, we install these devices called Faraday beads, and these beads kind of help mitigate electromagnetic noise coupling from wires. Talk about Faraday beads. It's actually quite common in most power supply designs to contain a Faraday bead. As you can see, even the laptop I have here has its own Faraday bead installed directly into it. We do a lot of designs where we also integrate these ground braids here. We do a lot of metal enclosures as well to kind of help shield that noise away and protect your device from any electromagnetic interference. So for all the electrical testing we do at Bailey Electronics, that's kind of what we do. And now I'll hand it off to Nick over there.
Yeah, so I'm Nicholas White. I've been with Bailey for 6 years, and I'm the product category manager for joysticks, handles, armrests, and throttles. So this is our overload tester. So we want to make sure we apply a large amount of force to the joystick before getting it out in the field. Generally in the field, the machines where these are installed vibrate and move a lot. So there's a lot of forces going through those handles and joysticks. This test basically applies a large amount of force to the joystick and sees if it fails. If it does fail, we want to make sure it fails in a safe way that doesn't impact safety to the end user. I can show you how it works a little bit. Generally what we do is we program in a certain force that we will apply. In this case, as a mock-up, I'm just going to basically slowly increase the force. As you can see here, it's about 100 pounds right there. All right, yeah, there we go. So we showed that this specific product reached over 250 pounds force applied and it didn't break, so it met our specification. In here is our cycle testing, vibration bed, and temperature chamber. We've got two different types of cycle tester, just general ones that rotate through the motion. And then over here we've got some ones that are broken down that are pneumatic cycle testers, so they applied a load at the end of travel of the joystick, similar to what you'd see in real life when someone is using them. Everything we test on our cycle testers up to roughly 10 million cycles or more if required for a certain application. So both the Elevate series and the L series handle and joystick that you guys have seen as part of this video have all gone through a life cycle test before. and have both hit more than 10 million cycles. So regardless of which model product you buy from us, they're all hitting this Bailey level of standard that we are committed to. All right, so this is our temperature chamber. So we test all of our products to very extreme high and extreme low temperatures, generally about 90 Celsius, so 194 Fahrenheit, down to minus 40 Celsius or Fahrenheit, to make sure that they can survive some of the extreme temperatures they would see in the real world. Right now we've got one of our L handles on a joystick cycling down to minus 40 Celsius. So we can take a quick look. So you can see there's a bit of frost buildup there on the joystick, and if we're going through a formal test, this will be plugged in and it would be tested for full functionality. So the joystick still works as expected. The boot is not cracking or damaged. The trigger, so this is a 3-position momentary trigger, it still works just fine. And all the buttons are still making their nice clicky sound.
Before being sent for external testing, each unit undergoes an in-house vibration test to simulate real working conditions. This ensures circuit boards, solder joints, and connections stay secure under heavy vibration, confirming the product is built to last in the field. After completing these rigorous in-house tests, each product is sent for third-party certification.
So after we've gone through that final formal certification testing, that generally means the product is good to go. We're at the end of our design cycle, and we start ramping it up to enter production.
Bailey also supports new development and training. And to show you some of the joystick's capabilities, here's Dylan, a co-op student, to explain one of the cool projects he's working on for the trade shows they exhibit at.
My name is Dylan. I'm an electrical engineering co-op here at Bailey Electronics. I've been here for 4 months and I'm doing an 8-month co-op term, so I'll be here for another 4 months after this as well. So when I'm working here at Bailey, I do a lot of different projects. A lot of it comes down to circuit card design, like I build our circuit boards that go into our joysticks. I also do a lot of testing on those circuit cards when they come out, and writing like test suites for them and stuff too. But I also get to work on fun little projects on the side, like this RC car project I've been taking on lately. So I've been working quite hard to basically interpret our joystick outputs and then send them through the RC controller that came with the excavator and make it all operate together. So far I've only got one of the 2 sides working on it, but I can show you a quick little demo of here's the RC excavator spinning. And I can try to grab something. And then I've also added claw functionality too. Here at Bailey, I've really grown a loving for the stuff that I've done here. Again, the main thing being PCB design. I've learned so much about it and how much I actually enjoy doing it. So I know now in my future that one of the career paths I'm going to be looking for is something in PCB design.
Now the handle's all done, gets fully packaged up, box, looks all pretty. Now it's off to shipping. Thanks again for watching, guys. You got to see the entry level and premium from start to finish. The 3-minute, the 30-minute, very cool facility done by Bailey here. Everyone was super friendly. Hey Zed. See? Everyone's super friendly. This is awesome. If you want to watch more videos of Bailey product, you can check here. If you want to watch more of the other videos we produce, you can check here. There's so much content.